Hi, everyone. Welcome to October 10th edition of Contributor Experience 2018. My name's Paris. I work at Google. Today, we are going to cover a slew of regular topics and then also have time at the end for an open mic. First things first, we do have a code of conduct. Please be excellent to each other. I will do my best to monitor for folks who have hands raised during discussions, but feel free to also pop into chat if you have something to say so we can get to you. And then any new contributors on the line right now? Let's see, I'm looking right now. Looks like most folks are regular folks. All right. And then, so regular program updates. We have Thursday community call, office hours, meet our contributors. George, are you on? Doesn't look like George is on, but I'm hosting tomorrow. Oh, there he is.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'm good for tomorrow. Are you good for office hours?
Yeah, Bob and Jeff won't be able to attend because they're traveling, so I'm going to need help in both European and Western time zones. So I'm going to reach out to my regulars, but if any of you have people that are looking, that have some spare time, I could use some help.
Okay, cool. I'll get the word out too.
It's next week, right?
Yeah, I just sent the announcements literally 5 minutes ago to discuss with the links and stuff. So yeah, next the 17th, 1 week from today.
I'll be there.
All right. I'll also get the word out too. And meet our contributors. I can obviously always take folks. So if anybody's interested in coming on that little program, feel free to reach out. All right, now let's go through our project board. I'll also paste the link inside of Zoom chat for Lazy Web. Awesome. All right, so I'm looking on the project board right now. Good news, doesn't look like we have anything in blocked. Is anybody here working on anything that they think is blocked that's not on this project board that they need to cover? No? All right, that's awesome. All right, so let's go through some in-progress stuff and do some quick stand-ups, if that's cool. All right, does anybody want to go first? It looks like Christoph's got some cards in here. Jonas, you've got some non-code stuff going on. I know you had some comms go out.
Yes, so
yeah.
I can go first. Yeah, regarding the non-code stuff. So we got the comms out last week. So right now we're essentially just trying to collect things. So I think for now that particular issue can actually be closed, and then we can open up others as we work on adding more job roles and gathering feedback from the SIG leads.
Awesome. All right, thanks, Jonas, and congrats on the closed issue. Sweet. Once you close it, it will automatically go to the completed column. So just go ahead and close it down.
I'll add in all the stuff that we added, so the blog post and the email to the distribution list and all of that before I close it.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for Jonas regarding any of the non-code stuff that's going on? Speak now. Awesome. Thanks, Jonas. Sweet. All right. And then Christoph, is Christoph on the line? Yes, there he is. I saw him. Christoph, you've got some stuff in here if you wanted to talk about it or you wanted to punt. And then George, I think you've got some stuff in progress too. So if you wanted to talk about stuff you've got going on.
Yeah, I can go after Christoph. I don't know if he's still here, if he dropped off.
I need a minute, so if you
yeah.
George, that'd be fantastic.
George.
While we're waiting, I know one of the items that has Christoph's name on them is the cleaning up of GitHub service accounts, but I think the last comment I see there was that Ihor was going to help us take care of this. How are we doing on this? So this is...
Can you remind me?
Sure. So this is where we wanted to go through and delete all of the GitHub accounts that are things like Kate's Mirror testing foo, Kate's Mirror testing blah. So it's, hang on. It's this issue, and it's like, I'm not really sure that you as a member of the CNCF have the technical capability to just go through and nuke all these accounts in one sweep, but we basically need to figure out like who created them and ask them to remove them, I think.
Yeah, as far as I remember, we had this issue. So yeah, let me double check on that because I haven't tracked that for a while, since August probably.
Yeah. Okay. That's just the only thing that's keeping this open.
Are we speaking about the Google groups or about GitHub accounts?
I think it's the GitHub accounts. I mean, it may also be the Google groups. So, like I deleted all of the references to the Google groups from SIG readmes, but I don't know that we've gone through and asked SIGs to delete the Google groups or asked them if they use the Google groups or what.
Speaking of, so in the communication inventory that we've been collecting, yesterday we pulled like 200 plus Google groups that are related to Kubernetes, and most of them look like service accounts.
Right.
So yeah, I was going to ask you all about that today too.
Like, are they used? Or is it nothing but GitHub notifications?
It looked like nothing but GitHub notifications. Some didn't even look like they had GitHub notifications in there. Some looked empty.
So the reason, George, just the reason we haven't nuked them all from Orbit just yet is because if we nuke them from Orbit, then how do people sign into these accounts? If somebody's forgotten their password to an account because, hey, whatever, I don't know.
Yes.
I think it uses that email address for the account password reset thingy. I honestly am not super sure because I went ahead and already removed all the ones for SIG testing.
Yes. So the procedure was we've created these Google groups specifically for you to have the new email address using which you can create a new GitHub account. So the Google groups, the only main purpose of the Google group was to create an email account for you. They haven't been intended for any kind of conversations and so on. So if any SIGs have used them, for example, I know that SIG OpenStack has used some of them actively. So that's the decision of the group, but that was not the main goal of creating the groups. So the main goal of creating the groups was the email address, the fake email address. Right. So we should start with GitHub accounts, and after that we can remove all the groups.
Right.
So semi-related to the moderation stuff, those groups, like people don't subscribe to these, right?
Apparently not.
Okay, so when you say we have 200 lists, I'm like, oh no, we have to moderate 200 things. It's not like that. Right?
No, I mean, I would say half of that is stuff that needs to be moderated.
Yeah. Well, I have to mention that regarding the original procedure that we had, only myself and Sarah Novotny, we had to be the owners of these groups. So I'm an owner. I should be an owner of all these groups. So anytime once we'll decide, I can do anything with them. But right now, I'm not sure that we should do anything with them because we will lose the email addresses to the GitHub accounts. And also, I have to receive notifications from these Google groups, and nothing came to my email, to my personal email, and I'm trying to get notifications from them. That could be that should be moderated. So most of them are like really inactive and being used only one time.
Okay. Thank you for that update.
All right. And then, George, did you want to talk about stuff that you've got going on?
Yeah, so as far as moderating the mailing list and stuff, I've got those 2 issues. They're pretty straightforward. I can do them this week. The question I have for one of them is about adding us as owners. So how does this work as far as ownership for the lists? Like what exactly am I putting in the moderation.md that you feel is missing?
Oh, we need to add the mailing list stuff, like how people would kick somebody off of a mailing list, like how that they should like lock the thread if you're an owner. That they should probably do what we do for KDev, where it's first newcome posters need to wait in a queue before they get like posting privileges.
Okay.
All of that stuff that relates to mailing lists. Like,
okay. Yeah, I just don't know what each one of those things are. Like, I could kind of list them off, but I'm not sure if I'll get each one. So I'll just PR it, and then we'll just work it from there.
yeah.
I was just kind of wondering if we knew what those options were, like, for each one.
Yeah, I mean, I know it, so I can just take that too.
Okay, I think you're on review. I'll just CC you then on my review, make sure I get them all.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. And then once that's done, we should give another heads up to SIG leads that all guidelines that we moderate are now in and done, and that they should look at their Google groups accordingly. Probably even add us as owners, but we can talk offline.
Yeah, I'm just scared. Like, do we really want to commit to owning all of the mailing lists? That seems scary to me. I don't know. Like, I can go either way.
At the final end, I would commit to remove all the unused mailing lists.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly what I'm documenting right now. Like, it's important for us to inventory everything that we have, and in order for us to like make decisions about like stuff that we should retire.
Yeah.
I have like a list going on right now in that document. There's like a million pages. One of them is called Google Groups. If anybody has any cycles this week, it's literally administrivia. Just jump in and start listing Google Groups that you know of. And I've been having a couple other contributors help out that have been really awesome. Like, that's how we know that we already have like 200 Google Groups alone. So, I mean, if we're also like, it's also important because if we're going to talk about solutions and how to make this better, and if we should make this better, we need to know what we have. And that's another reason why I think it's better to put us on as owners, so that when and if we do decide to change things, then we don't have to kind of do this now. But again, we can talk about some of that stuff.
Yeah, because modding Kubernetes dev is okay. Like, I think I do maybe 3 messages a day, and I'm assuming all the other moderators are doing the same thing.
Yep.
But if that was 200, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yep. But I mean, the SIG chairs and things like that also have ownership responsibilities, and they also can do it too. So it's not, the onus isn't on us necessarily, but as much as we are just being helpful. So.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that can even be spelled out that, like, you know, SIG mailing list, like moderation of SIG mailing list should be the SIG in question. It really shouldn't necessarily be contribx.
Yep.
But having contribx, like having, you know, our community owners, people in there as owners, is more like a backup, like, hey, I lost access to my account, or we're doing an ownership transition or something like that.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
I will make that explicit then in my PR then.
Yeah. All right. We do have a ton of stuff on the backlog. Christoph, did you want to stand up for stuff now, or you still need a minute?
No, I'm good. The only really thing that I have to mention that has changed in the last week is I put out a call for people to help out with adding members to our org. And before I could even get to the step of posting it to discuss and using our cool job board, I already had 2 volunteers. So thanks everyone for being too helpful. That's really nice. But both our volunteers have started and have been putting in PRs. Both Stephen and Bob have been putting in PRs to add people to the org, and things are flowing. So that's great. But that's really my only update in the last week.
Awesome. So questions for anything related to moderation, anything related to Christoph's GitHub management project stuff?
Yeah, a quick feedback for Christoph. Save the text that you did for the roll board. So like in a year or something, if those people cycle out, we still have a job posting that we can use.
Yeah, I sent it on the ContribuX mailing list, so we can always look back if we need to repost it.
Rock and roll. All right, cool.
All right. And then I will stand up with some open items that I have in progress. Specifically, what I talked about earlier, which is the inventory for communication platforms. I feel like we're so close that I can touch it. Which is going to be this awesome Goliath document of all things communications at least from an upstream perspective, if not even user perspective. And then I'll cycle that around to everybody to give a final look. And then we can start and move on to talk about what we think possible solutions could look like. The survey actually had a lot of data on it about how people like to communicate and things like that, which is really cool. And I do have the survey data that I'm going to upload today to GitHub in the contributor experience folder under the K community repo. So then everybody will be able to play with the data then. And that's it for that. So that that issue will actually be closed out shortly, and then we'll move on to pretty much next phases, which is looking at crazy solutions and testing them out. Cool. And other stuff that I have going on, I've got like auditing Zoom license holders, which is still like teeth pulling pretty much. But I do have a possible Zoom solution for us. George and I are going to be testing that this week. And that might help us a lot with our issue of getting other SIG leads to make sure they're using the right moderation controls and make sure that they're running their meetings the right way, making sure they're not using their personal meeting ID, etc. There's a lot of administrivia in the background there. So this actually might alleviate all of that. So more on that hopefully next week to see if we could have a possible Zoom solution there. But other than that, it's like right now, I think we still have about 30 to 40% of the SIGs that don't use their Zoom meeting, right? So we still have some vulnerabilities there. But other than that, we also have contributor summit stuff going on. This is your warning for everybody on this call. If you have not signed up for the contributor summit, that you most likely need to do that like within the next couple of days. We are close to a point where we have like 50-ish tickets for the current contributor track left, and then only a handful of tickets left for the new contributor workshop. And the new contributor workshop is going to get some advertising today and tomorrow, so I have a feeling that's going to sell out within the next week or so, which is awesome. And this is again for Seattle. I'm sorry if I didn't say that the first time. Josh, did you want to tell folks about Shanghai and how that's going?
Well, Shanghai is already sold out.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the workshop. Megan is putting together, one of the things we've discovered is that their registration platform doesn't support having a waiting list for it. So Megan is putting together a web form. And then this week we're going to put out a blog post about the contributor activity in Shanghai that will include a link to the waiting list. Just because I have a feeling that when we send out the confirmations 10 days before the conference, we're going to cancel out a lot of people who just checked the box and didn't really understand what they were signing up for. And so I want to actually have a waiting list that we can pull people from. Yes, that's about it. We're getting finishing up the English version of the slides, hopefully today, which means then translations will begin.
Awesome. That is so exciting. I keep saying that every time I talk to you, but I'm super pumped to see how this works and watch it go off. So Josh asked in chat too, how can he double check that if he's signed up? If anybody has any questions about registration for Contributor Summit, drop us a note either in Slack and we can tell you, or community@kubernetes.io. But Josh, I will look right now on this call and let you know. And yep, Mr. Bobby Tables is running registration. Bob, I don't think is on the line, but yes, Bob is doing awesome. All right. And then, let's see, I think that's kind of covers it for project board stuff. Everything else is backlogged. New issues that are coming in, are being taken. So I think all is well on the project board front. Does anybody want to stand up with anything that they're working on right now before we go to open mic? All right. All right. So let's see. First thing on open mic is code of conduct translation, non-English subboards on discuss.kubernetes.io. George, is that you?
Yeah, this is more of an announcement, just to let everyone know. Can you hear me? Okay, good. So we wanted to launch a native language in Chinese, and then we realized that the code of conduct is not translated to any language but English. So just to let you know, Dan's going to work. What we did is we looked at all the non-English languages in Slack, sorted by the amount of users. So Dan's working on Japanese, German, French, Chinese, Espanol, Italian, and Ukrainian. So we should have that code of conduct done soon. And then when that happens, we'll launch. Bob's leading this, so I don't know, but at some point we'll launch something in native Chinese as a subforum before KubeCon Shanghai, and then go from there. So I just want to let everyone know that that's the issue.
Awesome. I will also let the code of conduct committee know too. That's awesome. Yay for translation.
Yeah, I just asked, and he was like, okay. So.
Yep, that's awesome. All right, and then anybody have questions about anything related to discuss for George? Oh, Matt, I'm sorry, Matt in chat. Korean is one of the languages folks are working on docs. What about that? Or did I miss that on the list?
When we were talking about translations of the code of conduct.
Korean is on the list, if that's what you're asking.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure whether I missed hearing it when you were rattling them off. Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Sorry. All right, and then next, anyone?
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Sorry. No, it's not. That's strange.
I'll take it. I'll speak to them.
Okay. All right.
Then who had the last one about the community page?
That was me. Mostly I was kind of hoping Alex or Caitlin was here to. I know we said October-ish we were going to launch kubernetes.io/community with all the new designs and stuff, but I haven't heard about it in a while, so I figured I would ask.
Yep. The only thing that we're waiting for is the content from me for K Community. And then you've got, for contributor site, the theme that needs to be applied to, right?
Yeah, but it was my understanding that that wasn't like blocking on anything. Because I
thought we were going out together now.
Well, as far as I know, the CNCF hasn't even selected a contractor to pick on the theme yet.
Okay. Well, I guess we need to follow up with CNCF then about the contractor stuff.
Okay.
All right. I'm turning the content in today for the K community site for just like editing and whatever. If anybody else on the line wants to take a look at it, would love to have other opinions. I mean, it's going to go through rounds of editing and things like that. So obviously other eyeballs besides mine are going to be on it, but love to have anybody else's thoughts. So, and this is, again, the K community site. This wouldn't necessarily be towards 100% contributor audience. This is also talking about like user stuff as well. So I can get that passed around on like Slack today. All right. Any other questions about community site, contributor site stuff since we're on the topic of sites?
Yeah, should have your calendar by next week, but we don't really want to tell anybody until they finish locking up their Zoom stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Soon we'll have a calendar again. I can't wait. Sorry, I got really excited about calendars.
Yeah. Same. All right. Well, there's nothing else on the agenda today, so we're wrapping early. Does anybody have anything else?
I have one quick thing.
Yep.
As your friendly steering committee representative, I believe we're going to try and make a push to have all SIGs have their charters done prior to KubeCon Seattle. So that means we want all SIGs to have their charters going on that like bare bones template. That's just what's in scope, what's out of scope, what are your cross SIG processes. So this is a friendly poke from you. Mostly coming to mind because I'm working on the same charter for SIG testing right now, but I know that Contributor Experience did a charter before we had all of that, so I'm assuming the chairs here are aware of and working on a revised charter at some point. And I'm one of your reviewers, so just give me a poke and I'm happy to help out.
This is me officially poking you. So can you look at what we have right now in the Google Doc, or do I need to check it in first?
You can send it. I mean, I can take a look at the Google Doc. Generally, I don't put my stamp on it until it's a pull request. And the way we've seen other SIGs do this is they'll open up a pull request and they kind of hash it out themselves on the pull request before steering committee reviewers start taking a look at it. But if you've got something drafted already, I'm happy to take a look and point out anything that looks weird.
Yeah, I guess this would be like a first round of eyeballs look and not necessarily an official steering committee look.
Sure.
Just to see if we're on the right page. Because then after that, then I'd like to do exactly what you're saying is get everybody on the mailing list to cut it up and things like that. So
yeah, I think from historically what we've seen, it doesn't usually need even the whole mailing list's participation. We've usually seen leads or chairs or tech leads kind of hash it out. Although like we welcome and encourage participation from active members. That's definitely like what I'm doing for SIG testing. I think we have a couple members who are more active than the chairs and leads. So I really want to make sure we appropriately cover what they're doing without over specifying. So anyway.
Well, I will accelerate the charter stuff as well.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. That's it for me. Anybody else? All right. Sweet. TTYL. See you next Wednesday.
Thanks, everyone.